of the finals. With that said, let's take us away and get this going. Something stuck. There we go. Got it fixed up. To the bottom left-hand side with a very impressive 3-0 over Sue yesterday. Our Red Zerg player from Infinity Gaming. This is Namshar. Up against the pink Protoss player in the bottom right-hand side, we have got Zest. Okay, so Zest is going to send a probe across the map real quick. Obviously, this is pretty typical of PvZ, though, to be able to get in there and to try and block the expansion or so. Let's talk a little bit about Golden Wall, because we do have this kind of setup where it's very different. So, straight up, these back minerals are 20 minerals each. So, to actually mine this out is 40 minerals. So, that's quite serious. That's quite a lot of mining to be able to make through this. Now, outside of that, we do see, the top side of the map is a pretty regular natural into a third base and so on. Whereas on the bottom side of the map, you have these extra bases to play out with this gold base here. So actually, I feel like what could probably happen, that hasn't happened yet, is maybe you take a main and natural, then a third over here, mine out these minerals so you can defend the back of your mineral line too. And then there's so many expansion patterns. You can take a fourth down here, a base down here more easily when this is mined out. There's actually so much that can happen on this map when it gets to the later stages. We just haven't seen a game get to the much later stages so far. So, yeah, it's been very cool. It's been very, very cool. I kind of really like the idea of it. I just feel like it's one of these maps that needs so many more games than we can offer in the TLMC tournament. We can only really in the TLMC tournament get maps played like 7 to 10 times, 8 to 10 times or so. Trying to get them played more than that is oftentimes, it's just we can only make so many matches happen with the prize pool, right? But I feel like if you get this map played 50 times, you start to see some really crazy things on this game. Metas get figured out. People figure out the things they can do, how they can protect bases, etc. It's one of these maps that I think really would benefit from just getting played on the ladder almost, because it would develop, it would have its own little meta. I actually wouldn't mind seeing this map kind of brought to the ladder as the crazy map of the season, the Turbo Cruise or your Abiogenesis or so. That map that kind of always makes its way in there that no one really likes, but then actually turns out to be okay sometimes. I mean, then you have examples like Dasan Station and everyone's like, oh, come on, no one liked that map. So, yeah, pretty funky as we do see this Twilight Council from Zest here about to finish up in the main base. So Twilight Council finishing the main. A couple of lings do sneak in, though. Really nice for Namshar to be able to scout here early on. These two lings will turn and be able to pick up one of these probes already. Probe's able to kill off a Zergling there, and Robo Facility dropping down from Zest. So pretty typical, just moving straight towards the Dark Shrine opening, the Archon drop. We've obviously seen Zest with a lot of success against that with that yesterday against a laser. And we saw Classic with some pretty good setups against Reyno with it as well. It really seems very powerful, this new variant where you kind of, again, just those 2 additional adepts to run in and try and get something done. It's actually kind of crazy what they can get done. And as we do see this Stalker poking the Overlord away up to the top side here. A few Zerglings running through the center of the map. Third hatchery finishes up on the left-hand side as well. As we do see Lair, Roach Roaring being added into play. A few extra drones coming through also. So there's a few extra drones on the way out. 3 more gateways being added on too as a Warp Prism makes its way up. And the Zerglings and Namshar start pulling back along over to the left-hand side. So Roach is going to finish up in a few moments, and again, as that gets done, it's again everything you kind of need this to be from Namshar so far. Again, Namshar, very impressive ZVZ yesterday against Sue. Really interested to see how his ZVP works out. As we get this, again, ready to set up in a moment or two. They're about to finish here from Namshar in the main. And the Prism coming through the center. A few DTs going to start warping in. Lingers and Roaches on the way up from Namshar again, getting ready to defend this. Oh man, he has no, well, he should have an Overseer. Yeah, he does have an Overseer, but where are the units? This third hatchery might be in a bit of trouble, actually. I mean, he's just going to chase after the Queen for now. There's the Roaches. Okay, I mean, the third hatchery actually did turn out to be just fine, right? But I mean, this is still a lot of damage. List of 2 of the damaged DTs there. Doesn't get the queen in the end. Okay, and Namshar actually dealt with this a lot better than I felt he was going to. Now these 2 adepts come in, but it almost feels a little bit late already for them, right? Because the DTs have already backed away, and now these are coming in kind of on their own. They will still target down a bunch of drones. Still not bad damage. As you see, the Archon's about to finish up. And he's going to warp in. Okay, 2 more... oh, I love this. 2 more adepts and a DT. So he's going to send them all over the place to try and keep on harassing here. So we'll see where the Archons get to begin with. And we'll see where these other harassing units get to as well. Maybe if we can get one... especially because Namshar skips spores here. A lone DT can actually get a lot done because it's going to completely pull this Overseer out of position. So that's something that Namshar is going to maybe be punished for a little bit as he tries to drop down a Hydra Den. Now, Namshar has a very kind of unique style of CVP where he really loves to play into his lurkers. And he really loves that style. And it's just a style that you don't see all of the time nowadays. Here we go, 2 adepts in the natural expansion. Oh, but Zest isn't target firing with them, so he won't do as much as he should be doing. The DT's in the main base at the same time as well. And this does get a few drones, plus the Archon still harassing on the top, and Zest is, I have to say it, already kind of picking Namshar apart a little bit here in game number 1. DT gets a cancel there as well. And this DT then just goes hides in the corner, gets recalled out. That's going to drive... I would get driven insane if I'm looking around the base for Namshar, like, where is it? Where is it gone? Oh man, like, it's just not here. I'd be like, how did it get away from me? Then I'd remember recall exists, and I'd be sad. Archon's going to go in for this queen. I mean, that's just going to be an assassination. That's just going to go down instantly. Nothing else to be said about it as we're going to be seeing a couple of drones do drop. Lingers and roaches continue to come in as well. The warp prism continuing out now into the center of the map. 4 more gateways being added on here as well in the main base. Again, that prism with the 2 Archons inside of it coming all the way over to the right. So I'm going to come all the way over to this right-hand side, and meanwhile, charge on the way up from Zest. So that's going to be coming in with the Twilight Council. And again, just the Ling coming into the top side. Stalker going to be running around too. Again, charge going to complete in a few moments' time. More Roaches and Ravagers still being produced as well. Namshar is going to have quite a decent chunk of supply to work with here. Is it going to be enough against Zest? Because this push is looking deadly. 55 probes is seemingly where he's going to stop for the moment. And the sentries, the immortals, the archons gathering together. Zealots on the bottom side from Zest. So he actually... did he just warp prism these over here? I'm so confused. They're a little bit stuck. I don't know how they got over there at all. Anyways, we're going to see this army here from Zest. It's starting to fight out. Kind of do with those zealots in the fight as well. I actually have no idea how they got there. Maybe they just got dropped over by the prism and then forgotten about. Corrosive Bowels forced the prism to relocate. Oh, it's a really good hold from Namshar. Forced the prism to relocate here. It's really nice for him, and he is going to start picking up damage on these immortals. I mean, this immortal's in a lot of trouble too, and Zest might just give that one up. He does. Yeah, what were these zealots going for? I have really no clue. Yeah, these zealots have just done nothing. Like, I have absolutely no... I'm still confused as to how they got here. I just didn't quite see how they got here. He's going to recall them now. They are stuck. I guess he just dropped them over or warped them in on that side, and then they didn't have actually just any... there just wasn't anywhere for them to run to, so it's like, oh, cool, well... that was kind of a waste of time. Another immortal pops out. That's important for this defense. These zealots now coming down from the natural, which is where they were recalled into, so... oh no, Zest. Okay, good pickups to save himself from the Corrosive Bowels. Zest following through on this attack. I mean, he's actually looking pretty good all of a sudden again, despite, I think, across the map not doing so great. Well, now Namshar does start to add on Hydras, and I do wonder, does Zest maybe need something a little bit extra to deal with Hydras, or is he going to be okay just on this army? It's quite a lot of Hydras as well. 14 is a pretty serious number to begin with. And another few zealots warping in, so looks like we're just going to go for this right now. The thing is, now I feel like maybe we're losing a few of those roaches. Maybe there's not a lot of tanking for these Hydras, so maybe these zealots, archons, and immortals can do very well in this fight. Let's see. Zealots charging up that ramp. We see a couple of sentries being added in as well. I feel like Namshar defensively here, it's going to be close. Force fields on this ramp could be very good as well. He's already going to cut that army in half as he moves up to the third base. Nah. feel like this has been very well done so far by Zest, just really controlling very good areas of the map, really zoning very nicely, and doing all the things he needs to just to maximize the effectiveness of this army. It's very impressive. Another 8 zealots going to warp in, as we do see the Immortals going to town on the rest of this army as well. Those roaches and hydras being picked away. And a few zealots jumping onto this base. Namshar does have the top left-hand corner in play, so he does have a base to mine from, even if it's not this one. But how long until Zest realizes that? The thing is, Zest just camps this low ground, and if Namshar can't ever move down this ramp, what on earth are you meant to do? These sentries coming in, so force fields available. I mean, you can just send zealots up to the top left-hand corner after this base is dead. So there is absolutely an answer here for Zest to deal with that base. And Namshar, again, he just can't ever move down this ramp. There's no way for him to get out of this. I mean, this road's going to pop out. That'll go down too. I mean, hopefully Zest does realize there's a base top left, right? Because he should have seen drones coming in from it. And then here you go. The unit's going to start moving down, but yeah, Namshar just knows. The supplies are even when he leaves, but it's a very deceptive set of supplies. Our blue Zerg playing from Infinity Gaming. First map lost in the playoffs just now. It is Namshar. He's the only player to come into the semi-finals without dropping a map, but obviously that has not lasted long. Top right-hand side. He won the last Team Liquid map contest off of a bunch of PvZs in a row. Could be doing the same again here up until the finals. It is Zest in the upper right. So Zest, after that game, in the lobby chat said, the bottom side of the map is tight shut. And he was like, ... He's like, so what's the point in it? So, yeah, Zest maybe not quite finding the map as interesting as I am. Ay. Oh, Polaris here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like Namshar played Cass on this map, which means that he should be actually pretty familiar with it, which maybe is why it was one of his first picks here. In fact, it was his first pick when it came to picking the maps that remained. You kind of get that as well. Obviously, some of these players have played certain maps more than others have played them throughout the tournament, and so if Namshar feels like, he looks at this map and he's like, well, actually, played a long game on this one, I feel like I know how it works. That alone could also be a bit of an inherent advantage going into the game. Even if Zest has played this map before, what is the chance that he's played a long game on this map? It's a good reason to kind of, obviously you don't say, well, this map's terrible for me, but hey, I played it before. Let's play it. But, I think it's a good enough reason to help buffer up the choice of map here. Stargate from Zest. Drops down in the main base. I'm just going to see those couple of things coming up, chasing after that probe. Stargate dropping through. Zest changing up his style from game number 1. With the pneumatized carapace, Namshar will have a scout on this very quickly. The one actual real benefit of this would be if he had a second overlord across the map, he'll be able to save this one from the Phoenix. And as you see overlords from Namshar hanging out in the top side. Phoenix coming in on the main base, again that ready to go. Warp gate is about halfway done. Oracle is coming through. So yeah, this Overlord obviously, it's got speed, it will still get into the main. This one's going to be able to get away, so that's like the nice benefit early on here of Pneumatized Carapace. He might be able to get a rescout as well with Pneumatized, because he'll be able to get an Overlord back across the map quickly. So maybe able to scout what the follow-up to this Stargate is. Gateway going to help wall the front. Yeah, link speed starting right now. Spore Crawler going to move over to the side and get self-positioned. A second Spore coming up as well. Third Spore Crawler too. Phoenix on the Oracle continue to head down to the lower left-hand side. Phoenix lifts up a Queen. And the Spore able to shoot away at the Oracle a little bit. Twilight Council Robo Facility continue to come on through. A couple of probes being added in as well. Here's one more Oracle joining up over towards the bottom left. Again, Robo coming in on the Naturalist. It's just going to be a pretty typical follow-up here in Namshar. Well, his Rotron's a bit later than it was last game because, hey, he doesn't have to deal with Archons right away. Oh, he retargeted the Spore Crawler there rather than a drone, so that's a shame. So that's maybe not getting as much out of this as he probably wanted to. And there's that new test carapace coming into play, though. This Overlord gets back in. He gets a full rescout of everything being built. So now Namshar does have a very good read on what the follow-up is here for Zest. Charge on the way up, and Temple Archives is about to complete here as well. So again, going third Nexus of Zest finishes up on the third base as the Phoenix still come through and kill this Overlord, but again, I think completely worthwhile for Namshar to be able to reconfirm what's going on here early on. Couple of Oracles heading into the upper right side again. Two Archons are attacking their way through the Roaches. Gets picked up too, and again these Archons. Ooh, loses one of them. Zest getting a little bit too fancy with the micro. Maybe latency. It looked like he was clicking soon after it, so maybe just the latency of America server. Obviously, these guys play with pretty similar pings. That doesn't mean that there's no ping at all. There's of course still a little bit of ping to keep in mind, so it's you know, maybe not quite what he's 100% used to. It's even pings on either side, but again, it doesn't mean that you're going to suddenly micro perfectly. But it should mean that both players make similar mistakes due to it. So the one Archon into the main base, then going to push this Overseer away. Hydra's Den finishes up on the Natural of Namshar. So again, that Hydra Den up and running. Groove Spine's going to start. Six Hydras building up here as well, so Namshar getting that set to go. We do see some Zerglings turned around by Zealots, Sentries, and Immortals. And again, this Overseer just heading all the way around over to the right-hand side. A few more Hydras and Roaches being brought on through. Ravagers on the way up as well. The Overseer of Namshar just hanging out overhead as we do see a couple of Lings over to the left-hand side. Zealots, Archons, and Immortals pressing forwards. Nice corrosive powers catching them in the slow zone, so Namshar able to use the slow zone to help himself defend here a little bit because Zest has to push through it. Zest has warped in already a couple of extra Zealots. Not enough Ravagers to really corrosive power down the Warp Prism here. It's a lot of Roaches in play though for Zest. He's about to get Groove Spines as well to improve the Hydra range. Another round of Zealots running forwards, but I don't think Zest has enough firepower to take down the Roaches and Ravagers in this army. He's going to go for another round of Zealot Warp Ins, but it's not going to be enough, and Namshar will find himself game number 2. Kind of has one of the maps, that's been kind of played the least, but we did see it in game number 1 of the last series. We'll see it in game number 3 here as well, which actually does bring it up to being played just about as much as the other maps, which is nice to see. Top left-hand side, spawning in as our red Zerg player, Namshar. He actually played this map yesterday against Sue, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to just double-check that, because I'm terrible at remembering. Yeah, he played this game against Sue in the first game where Sue got a bit of a lead, but then tried to headbutt in with Roaches again and again. He just wasn't able to end it, so Namshar was able to clean up and take the victory in the end. Bottom right hand side. Pink Protoss player is Zest. His attack in the last game not working out at all. So what now? Here in game number 3. Zest and Namshar up against each other. Namshar's not really done much apart from trying to defend attacks of Zest so far, so... It'd be cool to see if Namshar could get up in towards... I mean, again, he's tried to go Hydras the couple of games we've seen. That's very typical of Namshar, who will eventually want to go up in towards Lurkers. Waiting to see what the tech choice will be of Zest here on Cloud Monarchy. Nice large map. It's kind of a map where Stargate makes a lot of sense, get that map control established early, but hey, you know, at the same time the Archon setup can be a good way to get going as well. Speed about halfway done here, as we do have the Twilight Council dropping down, so it does look as though we're going to have that commitment in towards a Dark Shrine and Archon drop opening here. That forced away over to the right hand side again. Third hatch continuing to come up, but the robot facility drops in the main base. Going to be about halfway done in just a moment or so. Adept in the natural, going to shade through and cancel. Just picking up information. Checking the saturation of this mineral line is nice, of course, because it tells you a lot about maybe there's going to be a link flood or so on the way, etc. Hey, Zest doing very well at Warren today, guys. Zest's downfall in these tournaments in the past has definitely been the attempting to wall off, but not today. He's nailing it so far. Good job, Zest. He's got them wall-offs figured out. So Lair and a Roadrun coming up in the next couple of moments. Queen, that coming up as well, getting set to go. Just going to be seeing the Zergling moving around again. A lot of just vision from Namshar being created, and he is going to see... Sorry, that's some very bad observance. He is going to see this Warp Prism starting to move across the map. 2 Adepts inside of it. And of course, this is when the DT is warping, so I'll take the DT warping across towards the third base. It's actually going to be supply blocked, so you actually can't warp in the DTs yet. Well, that's kind of a poor play by Zest. That's going to delay him quite heavily from where he should be at this point. Let's do 2 Adepts do shade through. I'll just cancel for the moment. Again, there's that warp prism pushed away a little bit. 4 DTs now finally will warp in, but a lot of time for Namshar to set up against this, so damage should be very limited here. As you're going to see, I mean, there's just so many roaches you can't even... Well, roaches are actually out of position, so he actually does get the initial queen pickup, which I really don't think he should have gotten. And there's Adepts wanting to shade in, but there's a lot of Lings ready to go as well. Namshar is ready for this attack. It is, again, at this stage, I think, very predictable how it's going to go. So yeah, just bring himself back a little bit from that, as we do have the Hydraless Den setting up here from Namshar, the Evo Chamber in the natural. 2 Archons and 2 DTs pressing forwards on his right-hand side. So the 2 extra DTs warped in. Namshar, again, is bypassing the Spore Crawlers in the bases, but this time he's got an Overseer watching the ramp up into the main and an Overseer on the right side. So adjustments from Namshar to make sure he doesn't take damage, similar to how he took damage in Golden Wall in map number 1. This one missile attack is on the way up as well. Groove Spine coming through. You can see this lane chasing down these couple of probes, and the DT coming over will just clean that up. So Zest up to 3 bases now. 4 extra gateways, by the way. Not building probes. He's just going to get aggressive again, like another round of an all-in. 8 gates, I mean, feels like it. There's 2 more probes now, but he actually just has a lot of minerals in the bank. Gets 2 drones across the map with these couple of Archons. That's actually stacking a lot of minerals at the moment. Charge will start, and there's 2 more DTs warp in. Of course, it's just a setup towards having enough Archons and Immortals to push aggressively with. We are heading into that very soon. All said and done, 5 drones killed. It's not a bad amount, right? I'm just worried that Namshar on 66 drones by the time Zest attacks on this larger map. I'm just worried that Namshar's going to have way too much for Zest to deal with, so it's a nice catch. At least gets this Overlord kill where oftentimes I feel like he shouldn't. And there we go, heading up to the top of the map. Now Zest again building some probes behind this, so he's got something of a follow-up available to him. He's got 54. I mean, it's very similar to the last game, actually. This game, Namshar's been a little bit greedy, though. Lurker Den already building, Infestation Pit already building. And these are things that are not going to help him at all when it comes to defending against this attack. So Zest, setting up quite nicely now, is going to be able to push in towards this top side. A few changelings coming down are going to be seeing this army, so a good little bit of info right away. Now Namshar knows. Zest on a little bit of a timer, because if lurkers come out attacking into this, it's going to become that much harder. There's still an overseer towards the main and natural. Those DTs have a little, they can definitely come in at a weird timing and, still get damage done, I think. You're going to see the 4th base just goes down pretty much instantly here. Nice force fields, cuts off a few roaches. And this is going to have to, he's going to be able to engage into the first little bit of this very easily. Oh, there is a few roaches popping there, but Namshar brings him over to the fight. So he's actually going to start taking some damage here. The queen goes down, now the drones are being sliced up. Oh, but he kills the warp prism with the corrosive bars. That's a huge cancel on the warp in Zest. Getting a little bit too aggressive with the warp prism there. Starts a new one instantly. Can't micro things such as saving this Archon. Now these units being chased down. If it wasn't for all these drones being killed on the other side with the DTs, I feel very, very bad for Namshar at the moment. But, for Zest at the moment. But with those workers killed, maybe Zest can still make something happen here, because that's 21 workers he's going to get down. 22. The number is still increasing. He killed the queen that was fighting. The roaches were out of position. Finally, they come through. Roaches, Ravages, and Hydras all the way down the bottom side. It's Namshar is going to get aggressive. Zest has a lot of money. He throws down double Robo. I feel like Zest has too much money almost, actually. The last attack felt a little lazy almost. I don't know. I guess in the end, he did lose a warp prism mid-warp in. Now, it's such a huge loss, and it really affects, obviously, how much money you have stacked up and money that you don't expect to have. Three more lurkers on the way out. These couple of robos about to finish up as well. Army's pressing forwards. A couple of these lurkers in the back are going to be coming up as well, so this is where Namshar's army gets that much stronger again. If he survives, we said he would be a lot more powerful, and here we are. He survived, and now he's got lurkers. This has a decent comp to deal with lurkers, but maybe not enough immortals. Maybe that's why he's actually added in 2 more robos. He's going to try and flank around with these zealots to come in from 2 sides. He loses one of the robos. He's going to lose the other as well. That's unfortunate. Here we go, coming in from the back, but actually just doesn't have vision initially. There we go, the Observer finally making its way forwards. And those zealots on the back took so much damage before they were able to clean up those lurkers. Way more than they should have done, I think. And Namshar's going to have the numbers to get a game number 3 in the bag. Namshar by a map in the top left-hand side. Can he tie this up? This is Zest. Obviously, we already had 1 Protoss player down today, down 1-2. A Korean Protoss were down 1-2 against a foreign Zerg. Classic was able to turn it around and win 3 maps in a row to win the series 4-2. Can Zest do the same? Or will our red Zerg player Namshar be able to hold on? Okay, so Earthrise for game number 4 of this. What does Zest need to change up? I feel like his aggression just isn't working, right? Like, the way he's trying to attack just isn't working for him at all, and so does he just need to change up his playstyle completely? He's just trying to do similar attacks game after game, but Namshar seems to have the answer to it at the moment. Man, if Namshar wins this out and goes to the grand finals, I don't even know what to make of that. That's actually insane, because this tournament has been stacked. Then you would play Classic in a best of 9. It's a lot of ZVP, but hey, you know what, guys? I'll take it. If that's the way the world works, if Namshar wants to take down Zest, I'll cast even more ZVP. Why the hell not? I think Zest just needs to be a lot more cautious in some of these fights, right? You know, the harassment is good. The DTs are getting damage done. The harassment's doing really well. It's just in the fights. You know, the War Prism is too close to the Ravagers. It's too easily taken down. And it's those fights and little mistakes there from Zest that's kind of losing him these games, because then Namshar gets the numbers up to counterattack through and win it out. So that's going to hide this pylon on the map here. So trying to play a bit of a mind game in the early stages of game number 4 here. So probably a Stargate just hidden away. It's kind of slightly close to the Zerg base as well. I mean, what it's going to be if it's not a Stargate? Yeah, Stargate will be. I mean, what else really would have made sense, right? Hide a Robo? Well, you kind of want the Robo for the rest of the game. The Stargate's something that is very easily proxied, because even if you lose power to it, if you lose it, it is still going to be a structure that, you know, it's a structure that you then don't really worry about too often. You know, because you're not usually using your Stargate to produce mid-game units. Oh my god, did that Zerglin see the pylon? No. Good denial by Zest. His second adept starts to come across the map, but actually cancels and will stay at home, so playing rather safe. Now Namshar obviously has his own possibilities to mix this up a little bit if you would like to. Would be very fun to see maybe Namshar kind of going a lot more aggressive himself maybe early game. I mean, I guess at the moment, does he need to? Not necessarily, but I feel like especially, you know, in a long series like this, you end a game 5 after this, for example, and you know, maybe Zest just falls into that pattern, that rhythm, where things are just, you know, feeling comfortable. He keeps macroing. He gets a bit lazy on the scout maybe, because he just assumes it's going to be similar setup once again, and then boom, you strike. And then Namshar cracks out the all-in, then boom, Zest is dead, and Namshar wins the series. He's the second place finisher, at least in the... Okay, maybe I'm getting a little bit overexcited. Twilight Council is on the way down, though. 2 gateways coming in to back this up. The Oracle. Just poking around. A second Oracle joining up as well. Lots of gateways from Zest. He's going into the Twilight Council. Maybe just Glaives into a... Yeah, maybe like a very strong Glaives follow with all of these gateways. Similar to what Classic did in one of the previous games as well, where he just went into that Glaives and then maybe after that going in towards that Robo facility and in towards that follow-up attack. So Zest mixing it up a little bit here on Earthrise. Two Oracles. Actually going to use the Stasis Ward. I actually wouldn't have mind them diving in to get some damage done here, because actually they're in a pretty good spot to... yeah, they're actually in a pretty good spot to be able to... oh, that's nice. Catches 4 War Drones. They're in a pretty good spot to have just dove in and gotten some kills. First 4 Adepts actually going to find an opportunity as well. Namshar, where are the Zerglings? On the wrong side of the map. Oh, well, this is just Zest straight up finding a lot of damage right away this time around. 8 workers down. And Adept shade up into the main base. 10 workers killed. Queen taking a few shots here. The drones pulling back towards the minerals. The Zerglings all the way in towards the main now. Now, oh, those Adepts shading from the main back down to the natural. I mean, they're not going to get out of here, so they might actually stay in the main where they can actually fight against this Queen. The longer they stay alive, the closer they're going to get to that resonating Glaives. Doesn't look like they'll be able to get it up. Another Stasis Ward trying to slow down drone mining. This time the Adepts will shade through to the low ground, but 2 Queens in position. And that is going to be a defense. Robot facility continuing up here. It's just about halfway done at the moment. Let's see those Zerglings running through the center. They're going to run headfirst into the adept, so... Well, now Namshar knows exactly what's going on, but he is only on 18 army supply. There's not a lot to fight against this whiff, so this could get a little tricky right now. Let's get real tricky right now, as we do see a wall-off. I mean, trying to buy some time with the Evo chamber, he's just going to kill the first Evo. Starshade and Poise, he's going to kill another one as well. I mean, just get rid of these walls, right? Gets a drone as it pops out, gets another drone as well, just as it cancels there. On to the main base we go again. There's just not enough roaches to deal with this right away, and obviously there's so many adepts. There's just nothing to get rid of these adepts. It's actually a little bit crazy. Queen goes down, now back down into the natural. Stasis ward goes off, actually probably saves some drones more than anything else. Adepts are going to start shading away towards the third base, but as sentries and immortals come in back at home, I think we get the feeling of how this follow-up is going to look, because Namshar is taking too much damage to realistically be in a survivable position now. I mean, we're talking 18 workers killed. He's down by 8 workers. The Adepts will cancel their shade, and they'll actually just keep picking their way through the third hatch. Namshar is super out of position. The Adepts will shade to threaten again, and Namshar has to make a decision. Does he die for the Adepts here? Does he chase them? They're going to cancel their shade? Oh, okay, they actually go for it. I feel like he could have killed the third hatchery right then, though. Maybe he can shade back out towards the third hatch. He's going to go towards the main, however. I feel like he could have killed the third hatchery, but decides not to. Could have just cancelled the shade one more time. I feel like that was a bit of a mistake. Anyways, there's still more drones being killed, and again, it is seemingly just disastrous for Namshar here. What is he meant to do against this now as the Oracle flies back over through the natural expansion? Lots of immortals have been building at home from Zest. The Oracle comes in to try and kill the hatch. The Spore Crawler will try and relocate. Queen doesn't have a transfuse. The Oracle is going to kite. Okay, the second Queen had a transfuse. Oracle just gets a drone kill instead as it leaves. Hatchery is saved, but again, War Prism's on the way. This push is game-ending for Zest. I mean, it is so many units. It's such a powerful setup. There shouldn't really be a response to this for Namshar. It looks like Zest's going to win on Earthrise here. Wow. Zest comes all the way around to the right-hand side. And this hatchery is super low. It's going to go down if the Immortal looks it down. You know, it's going to be like, hey, there's a base there. Oh, sorry. Maybe I imagined it. Zest just presses through. Here comes a lot of roaches, and Zest will drop the first few force fields down. With the amount of immortals he has, he's being on double rover behind this. The roach-heavy army does not stand a chance. One immortal's like, you know what, I'll kill the lava in the background, guys. I'm not going to let us get flanked. And then realize that's maybe not so good of an idea. Let's continue to press on through. We're going to see more of these roach and ravagers getting picked away at. A couple more bars coming down on the immortal again. These ravagers are going to go down. The roaches drop as well. Nothing left for Namshar. GG. Zest. Be aggressively on that, despite its macro intentions. In the bottom left-hand side, our red Zerg player representing Infinity Gaming. Give it up for Namshar. Top right, our pink Protoss. We have Zest. Okay, so game 5. What are we thinking, guys? How is Zest going to open this one? I like the change up in the last game to play Glaives. I think there's a good change of pace that was much needed in the series, because otherwise it just felt as though he was just sort of headbutting himself into the same wall over and over again. You know, with not much really being gained. So, going into game number 5, what do you do now? Because do you go back to what was kind of, you know, a bit of a mediocre setup before that wasn't really working that well? Can you really go Glaives 2 games in a row and expect Namshar to just fall for that? Without being a bit more kind of, you know, particular about how he's scouting? I think you kind of have to go back towards something like either the Archon drop or the Oracle opening, but Maybe just play for the longer game. Maybe play for Storm and +2 rather than attacking on 50 to 60 probes and hoping that your opponent, hoping that Namshar falls down dead. Because Namshar's not very good at falling down dead. We saw that against Sue yesterday, and it happened a couple of times so far today where Namshar has defended very well against those Immortal Archon timings. You know what this map actually looks like? We call this map the Hurricane map, because it's meant to look like a hurricane. You tell me this mini-map doesn't look like a Beyblade. Right? But I get it, Beyblades are like a hurricane, similar shade, whatever. I think this map should be called Beyblade. Super Ruben, dude, scrap the name, call it Beyblade. Instantly we'll make the ladder. The Blizzard guys are going to be like, oh, the nostalgia! People are going to vote for it because it's called Beyblade. Like, you can't go wrong. You have an iteration phase to rename it. Trust me. Don't change anything about the map, just the rename. Man, I actually saw when I was in Korea, they actually still sell Beyblades. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, that's actually crazy. It's actually insane. Who would have thought all these years later? We've seen the Adept is chasing down the Zergling, as we do see a Robo facility. Is on the way up here from Zest in the main base. Again, that Robo up and running. Stalker going to be pushing the Overlord away down to the towards the center of the map. How hard is it to make maps for this game? I think the process of making a map is probably very accessible. Making one that's very good is a much different scenario, because there's a lot of things map makers just straight up have to consider at the start as well. Like, before we even talk about balance, how good certain bases are, and the layout of the map, you have to think about things like, can a Liberator abuse this position? Can a Siege Tank abuse this position? Basically, can Terran abuse this position on every single mineral line? And even that, I feel like, takes so long to make sure that you get right. Obviously, if you've been making maps for a long time and you do it a lot, those things come very naturally. But I feel that I jump into map making and be like, oh my god, like, my minerals would be way too close to the side. Liberators would be, sieging up like 4 mineral patches and be out of range of a queen without the lib range upgrade. More Prism coming down, a couple of Adepts. Going to be setting up here, of course. We've seen this setup before. WardiTV is going to start heading in towards the third base, and I'm just going to start swiping here. The Overseer should be nearby. There is an Overseer. There it is, coming in from the top side. Well, third hatch takes some damage. The Adepts, they're not target firing. Zest is losing a lot of opportunities with these Adepts. I mean, he gets 70 damage onto a Queen with Adepts. That's so much damage. That should have been so many drone kills. Instead, it's going to be very limited as he loses one of the 4 DTs as well here in the main base. Again, a mixed response to the setup here initially. TT is dropping back down, and third hatch taking a little bit more damage. Fourth DT, 2 more Adepts. Now it's going to be the Archon with the Adept combination. Again, Namshar going up into that Hydralus Den, and it's a pretty good setup in terms of being able to go in towards the style he likes to play. 44 probes. Zest is not making more, but his third nexus isn't done just yet, so we'll get a bit of a better idea about that soon. Drones are trying to run away from those Archons. Zest does find pretty good damage here once again. The Archon's coming back down to the low ground, going to be able to get a few more of those drones in the next few moments. Looks at a Queen as well, man. This actual damage is really stacking up here from Zest. I feel like this is the scenario where actually Zest maybe shouldn't be afraid of just going across the map to try and kill Namshar, because this feels like much more successful damage than what's been found in the previous games where Zest has tried to attack. Extractor coming up in that third base right there. The Wall Prism from Zest into the main with the 2 Archons inside of it. Nice pick up on that Ravager. Really well done. 4 more gates. Up in this main. Sentries, Immortals, a few Zealots pressing forwards. They're going to be joining up with the other few units here from Zest over on this left-hand side. Huge army for Zest at the moment. Again, it's only 47 workers. It's aggressive, and we kind of knew this was coming, I think, from the point you started to do so much damage. This is already looking good. The first force fields keeping these units at bay. The drone's already pulling back. I mean, at the very least, this third hatchery is going down, and that alone is already just a fantastic start. The War Prism is super safe as the Ravagers get pushed really far back. Zest will pull these units back to join up with his reinforcements, and the other units stayed back to kill the third hatch now. That War Prism is going to save the Immortal. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, unfortunately here, Namshar just allowed himself to take a bit too much damage to the Archons this time around, and so Zest is going to be able to come through. Loses the Archons, actually. War Prism doesn't move out of the way in time. Oh my god. Zest kind of throws it away a little bit here. Losing that Prism is huge, and that's really, really painful. As you're going to see the corrosive bars dropping down again. Again, these other units pushed back up the left-hand side of the map. Okay, well, I mean, Zest did kill the third hatch. He is up in workers, so he still has a good economic position. As long as he can get enough units up and out to defend. He has 1 Immortal. He should warp in some DTs, get some Archons on the map. And he's going to go for some Sentries and some DTs. I can get behind that combination. That works. And the 2 Archons going to start morphing in. 2 more Ravagers morphing on the ramp as well. Namshar's army continue to come over to the right-hand side. Corrosive bars already dropping down. Immortal taking some shots. Force fields are going to get broken down. And a few Zealots on the bottom side of this here in some trouble, but I think yeah, Namshar just took too much damage. Of course, Namshar's very committed to this attack now as well. He's not redroning or anything. He's just trying to end the game with this counter. GG from Namshar. Took too much damage before he cleaned up that War Prism and before things went in his favor. So it is Zest side. On match point, 1 map here will send him to the grand finals against Classic. This is Zest. Up against the red Zerg player. And the top right-hand side for Infinity Gaming, Namshar. Aerodream has these reaching high ground areas which create a very interesting narrow mid-map. It also divides the players up a little bit. You have this midsection that really is very well defined. If you get up here though, I feel like this one, the maps where terrains, you get up this high ground, you just push this base endlessly. You can expand down here and push this base endlessly up there, right? So for PvZ, it's actually a pretty easily defendable setup. I mean, you set the third base over here, you can have a choke point to work with as you jump between bases. It is not super close to natural on the third, but it's close enough to defend fairly comfortably. So we've seen this Overlord heading down to the bottom left-hand side. Cybercore on the way up in the natural expansion, so getting that set to go. So there's 2 ways to look at this, guys. On the one side, if Zest wins, at least we don't have to watch more with PvZ, and at least we don't have the same openings again for the next 9 maps in the finals. On the other side, if Namshar wins, we don't have to watch PvP. So, which is the better of two evils? I don't mind PvZ, but I do also feel like I'll never forget the last TLMC finals day. We did 2 best of 5s, 2 best of 7s, and a best of 9. They were all PvZ, and I think we did something like 26 or 27 maps in total. Oh my god, like, I was out of things to say after 10 maps of PvZ. Never mind the next 16. PvZ is this early game where, well, you can see it. Namshar builds an Pneumatized Carapace, so this time he will get a bit more of a scat off. But the Twilight Council and the Robo is coming down from Zest, and so we kind of already know what Zest is going to do, and it's the same as the last game. It's not going to change any much at all from that last game to this one. So you see a few drones on the way up. The drone drops back down in the natural expansion, then lair on the way up in the main base. Third hatchery coming down. Again, Namshar with the scouts, so he knows exactly what he's setting up to deal with, so no surprises for Namshar. And mostly up to Zest to see kind of, I think, what the follow-up exactly is going to look like, or if his controller is going to be able to do enough damage in these early stages. So Gateway is going to be finishing the War Prism of Zest, continuing up towards the upper right-hand side. We'll see a few DTs warping in. We'll start heading in towards the third base here, so heading towards the third base, going to be seeing, I mean, Queen going to get swiped down instantly. Overseer just wasn't ready yet, so the DTs are actually just going to go for the hatchery. Oh my god, so it's going to be less than half health by the time the Overseer finishes. Is he just gonna... okay, he lifts up instantly, moves it away. Hey, where were the adepts this game? He did go for the adepts this time. Very interesting switch up then, because obviously the adepts have been very good so far. Namshar supply block, by the way, huge supply block, 74 over 74. Now, that's just very quick just to back away from this and to... he's just looking for somewhere to drop those DTs off so he can morph them into Archons, but... well, the Roaches can kind of see this over here. Now he's going to open adepts. And obviously you're going to see this. Again, nice information. Even gets to see the adepts are going through the center, so has a rough idea which direction they will come in from. As other roaches continuing over, we do see the Archons there able to pick up an Overlord, so Overlord will fall. On the right hand side, the Archons going to deal a little bit more damage, getting a drone kill. The two adepts have not found their way into a mineral line yet. Namshar has really adapted well to this, though, making those few extra units to make sure he covers that mineral line very easily. He's gone straight up to 60 drones, by the way. I feel like Zest is getting ready to attack again. 3 more gates on the way up. Now, he hasn't dealt tons of damage this time. Namshar has been pretty greedy, going to 60 drones. I wonder if that's potentially too many. And look at everything he's upgrading to. Roach speed, link speed, groove spines, +1 missiles. Those are not things that are going to give him instant gratification and, you know, stop him from dying in this upcoming attack necessarily. 11 more drones. Oh my god, Namshar is overdroning so heavily. If he holds on, amazing, right? Like, he's going to be in a great spot. His work account's going to be ridiculous, but is there a way for him to hold on against this incoming attack? Well, if he gets some very good corrosive powers on the War Prison, that's always going to be a valid way to potentially defend one of these pushes. 68 probes. Drones, sorry. Well, that goes up to 50 workers here. So Overlord getting nibbled. I think this attack's getting ready to go. Namshar starts to build Roaches and Ravagers. Will it be enough? It's a good few sentries in here. Obviously, a lot of this comes down to the engagements as well, though. It's not a given until you see how those fights are going. And I mean, there's 3 Immortals, 3 Archons. Those power units are going to be extremely important. Good amount of sentries. A warping of Zealots would not go amiss to get in front of this army. Namshar is... ooh, Zest supply blocked. Actually can't warp as many Zealots as he maybe would have liked to. Good first force fields, though. Blocking off a lot of these initial units. Couple corrosive bars Not really connecting. One lands on an Immortal. Popping its barrier. Ravagers are a little bit exposed on their own. Some better corrosive bars actually hitting some units there. Again, Zest has to be very careful where he decides to position this Warp Prism. Fourth Immortal joined the fray, and Spinecrawler joins the fight as well. That doesn't last for all too long though. Man, this hatchery is super low. He might just be able to kill this hatchery and then back away for a little bit, take away a lot of Namshar's economy, and then go from there. He's killing a few of these drones. These Immortals are staying alive. Good micro, dodging the bars via the Prism pickup. Absolutely, this hatchery should go down, but I think Zest is hungry just to kill the army. Drones are pulling in to try and defend. The Warp Prism now has to micro these Immortals back. Okay, he gets the hatchery, but he's going to have to leave with the 2 Immortals that he has left over. I mean, Namshar survived because he pulled in the drones to fight there, and he lost 11. He's going to go on the counterattack. I feel like we've done this dance before where Namshar now counters, but Zest still has a good economy at home, and because of that, Zest just gets up enough of a defense to hold on. I mean, Namshar's going to attack into 2 Archons, the 2 Immortals in the Prism. A new Immortal has started up on the Robo facility already. There's already one walking out. Now, Namshar can't make this happen. He's going to try and re-drone, but that means the follow-up attack from Zest now is going to become powerful. He's even adding on 2 more gateways, going up to 9. Alright, Warp Prism is actually going over to the left-hand side. The 2 Immortals here could hit this 4th base. Obviously, the 3rd not mining really hurts Namshar's income at the moment. Now, this is just the Zealots. And again, surprised the Immortals haven't dropped off. They might head into the main, these Immortals. Maybe he can save some of these Zealots as well. He's going to run them away. At the same time, he does push in on the right-hand side. And, well, one of the Archons in the front somehow dodges the Corrosive Bile there. Zest's going to start pulling back. The Zealots in the main base, I mean, Zest just goes all over the place. I love it. Comes back in with the Zealots on the 3rd base too. I feel like this is the most flair Zest has had with one of these attacks so far, where he's just really like, yeah, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. I'm going to be everywhere, but you just can't keep up with me, basically. You know, this attack's still trying to pressure the 3rd base too. And now the Zealots obviously moved from the 5th base in towards the natural expansion as well. So moving in over here. 14 drones have gone down. Now a couple more DTs added in, although actually there is an Overseer here, so that didn't work out too well. A little bit of micro, loses one of the Immortals, so we'll save the DTs. Zest pulls back home. 43 drones for Namshar, 53 probes for Zest. I feel like Zest just builds up for another round of this in the next few moments. So here we go, this army of Zest starting to push out to the right-hand side. DT's going to warp in again, another couple of Zealots along with it. Here we go, this army setting up. Roaches and Ravagers of Namshar trying to press forwards, and I'm not sure where the Prism is. Well, the Prism's in the main, so there's no lift-up, pick-up micro here available. Again, a couple of units just going towards the drone line. Actually, leaving only a few Archons to chase down the Roaches and Ravagers again and warp into the main at the same time. There's so many drones that are being picked off here, and you know, you just back away from the 3rd base. There's not enough of a response here, realistically, from Namshar to defend this. Loses the main base now. This is a hard-fought series from Namshar, but in the end, Zest will be a bit too good, and he's going to find his way into another TLMC Map Contest Tournament Finals. A few units just coming down the ramp. GG, well played, and good luck, says Namshar, as Zest takes it down.